I'm Rodney Roy, and it's an absolute honor to be speaking at this event in this capacity. I genuinely love this school, and my time at TFS was as magical to me as Hogwarts was to Harry Potter. That's not a joke, that's a meme. In fact, it's a meme I posted on Instagram when I received my acceptance letter to Toronto Film School. I admit, I wanted very much to be valedictorian. I worked very hard, I put in many long hours, and I declined many invitations because I was committed to achieving my goal. Which, now that I think of it, makes me more of a Hermione Granger, which is fine with me because Harry Potter and Ronald Weasley would be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle or a prayer if it weren't for Hermione Granger and her spells, making her the real reason Lord Voldemort was defeated in the end, but I digress, as film nerds and Potterheads do. My fellow graduates, today we celebrate a major achievement in our academic lives, as well as the hard work and sacrifice that went into it. It wasn't easy, but we did it, and today we graduate from a school with an international reputation, equipped with a competitive portfolio and the training it takes to make it in our respected fields and create our own stories. On behalf of the graduates, I'd like to thank the TFS administration for organizing this virtual graduation ceremony, which gives us the opportunity to celebrate our collective achievement in spite of a global pandemic. Thank you and congratulations on a job well done. And to our family and friends who are watching, thank you for the never-ending love, support, and encouragement that helps us to realize our dreams, like graduating from film school. And if you'll indulge me for a brief moment, I'd like to thank my family who are watching at home for their unconditional love and support over the years. You mean the world to me, and I love you. To my nieces, Danica and Quincy, if you learn anything from me in life, I hope it's this. Be brave, be curious, be kind, be heard, and be proud to be girls. Because girls will save the world. When I was a kid, whenever family or friends would drop over for a cup of coffee, or better yet dinner, because it gave me more time, I would drag my plastic milk crate in front of our yellow Formica table, hop on, and proceed to entertain our company, which I regarded in my head as my own private audience, with whatever I had learned in school or seen on TV that day. I would then take a bow, hop off, and drag my stage back to my bedroom. Eventually, I outgrew my milk crate, but I never outgrew my love of entertaining. I knew I was gay the moment I left the womb, and I knew I wanted to be an actor the moment I saw Stand By Me. But what I lacked was the confidence to chase after a career in show business. Being gay bashed every day at school, well, that didn't help. Little did I know that Madonna was about to change all of that for me. I was 10 when Madonna released her legendary Like a Prayer album in 1989. She was already famous, and I was already a fan, but that album, combined with the Blonde Ambition World Tour and her concert documentary Truth or Dare, turned her into the queen of pop and turned me into a faithful subject for life. The reason for that is simple. During that iconic period in her career, the Material Girl taught me that if she can make it in a man's world, then I, a gay man, can make it in a straight man's world. And that, my fellow graduates, is what gave me the confidence to chase after my dream. It's too bad it was the wrong dream, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Seeing as the 80s was a terrible time to be gay, I didn't have many friends, so I spent most of my time watching movies back when movies were released on VHS cassette. That is, when I wasn't doing theater, secretly crushing on boys, or raising a little hell at my Catholic high school. All the while, I was counting the days to graduation when I could finally get out of Sudbury and get into show business. Like my idol Madonna, I was going to move to New York, except I was going to study acting, not dance. And after doing Broadway for a few years, maybe off-Broadway if the material is good enough, I was going to move to LA, where I would seamlessly transition over to film and win Oscars for my big gay passion projects. Was I naive or what? I did audition for a fancy acting school in New York, and I got in, but I couldn't go because I couldn't afford the tuition. With the arrogance and lack of foresight of a teenager, I was counting on being offered a full scholarship, but I wasn't. Still, I cried for days. In the end, however, my not going to New York proved to be a blessing in disguise because shortly thereafter, my dad died of cancer and the Twin Towers fell in New York City. It's true what they say. Everything does happen for a reason. By the time my 20s came to an end, I had graduated from a less glamorous theater school, did lots of dinner theater, dabbled in film and TV, including 2 seasons as a recurring guest on a live national talk show, but I was hardly making a living. I was never really interested in playing straight roles, and the only work I could get on a gay production was background work on Queer as Folk. So I decided to take a leap of faith and start a theater company. By the time my mid-30s rolled around, I was back at working retail, struggling to get by on minimum wage in Toronto, and I was absolutely miserable. And seeing as misery loves company, I also found myself living with the woman who, unbeknownst to me when I moved in with her, was the inspiration for one of Stephen King's most popular books. I think she's even related to Kathy Bates. At any rate, I couldn't take it anymore, so I decided to move out. In May 2015, I was packing the contents of my dresser when I caught a glance of myself in the dresser mirror. I looked terrible. I was thin, I was pale, I had dark circles under my eyes. I was a hot mess. I stared at myself in the mirror and I admitted to myself that I was truly lost, so I surrendered to the universe. I asked for help, I asked for direction, I asked for a sign. It's true what they say, be careful about what you wish for. I bent over to put some sweaters in a box when that big, heavy, ugly mirror came crashing down on top of me. From my periphery, all I could see were broken bits of glass falling to the floor, and I felt a brief, searing pain above my right elbow. When I stood up, I was shocked at what I saw. There was broken glass and blood everywhere. A lot of blood. I'm talking a Quentin Tarantino amount of blood. I needed 2 surgeries, one to fix my arm and one to save the use of my hand, but I was still looking at permanent damage and restricted use. The scary thing was that I got lucky. I had a bloody scratch across my jugular. If that scratch were any deeper, my nurse said to me as she held a mirror to my neck, you wouldn't be in my ER. You'd be downstairs in the morgue. It turns out mirror injuries and deaths are quite common. After my experience, I think Stephen King should write a book about a deadly mirror, and I'll turn it into a movie starring Kathy Bates. It was a long and frustrating recovery, but whenever I felt like giving up, I'd remember that bloody scratch and that pool of blood, and that would give me the strength to carry on. That's actually a Jackson Pollock painting that you're looking at, but you get the idea. After that accident, I had to learn how to hold a pen and how to write again. I'd sit there and write the same phrase over and over again until my hand cramped and I couldn't write anymore. My name is Rodney Roy. But it wasn't until I started writing, I will not be silenced by my hand, that I finally realized I am a writer. Only when I couldn't write anymore did I figure it out. Meanwhile, I had been writing poetry, short stories, and plays since grade school, and I wrote my first screenplay after graduating from high school. It's true what they say. Some people need to learn the hard way. Recently, I found that script. I can't tell you how excited I was because I thought it was yet another thing I had lost when I moved out of Misery's apartment. That script is over 20 years old, but I remember writing it like it was yesterday. It's true what they say. Time really does fly by. I wrote Henry Matters after Matt Damon and Ben Affleck won the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay for Good Will Hunting in 1997. These guys I could identify with. These guys gave me hope. They weren't getting the roles they wanted, so they wrote a film and won an Oscar for it. If they could do it, then I could do it. And so I did it. Well, I wrote a screenplay anyway. So I sat down with a bottle of red wine and I decided to read the screenplay my 18-year-old self was convinced Miramax was going to buy. The screenplay I was convinced was going to land me an Oscar. All I have to say about that experience is that I'm so glad I had a bottle of wine. It was an embarrassing read, but the core of the story was good. So my 18-year-old self would be thrilled to know that at the tender age of 41, I'm working on Henry Matters 2.0 after graduating from Toronto Film School. At TFS, I received a first-rate education and learned the necessary skills and training to create a compelling and well-crafted portfolio from a faculty comprised of experienced industry professionals like Andrew Barnsley, the Emmy award-winning executive producer of Schitt's Creek, CEO of Project 10 Productions, and executive producer in residence at Toronto Film School. Every year, the writing students have the unique opportunity to pitch to and get feedback from Andrew and associates from Project 10. Last year, those associates were Jessica Stein, Manager of Development and Marketing, and Shelby Bronstein, Manager of Business Affairs and Operations, and a Toronto Film School graduate. The creative input and feedback I received from the three of them when I was creating my sitcom, My Best Friend Madonna, was absolutely invaluable. And that is the TFS advantage. It was the faculty that attracted me to TFS, and once there, the faculty did not disappoint. What impressed me the most is how the instructors at TFS go above and beyond their pay grades to help the students who are ambitious and who are putting in the extra work. I'd love to thank all of my instructors individually, but I can't because of time constraints. If I had an Emmy, they'd let me go into overtime, but I don't have one of those yet. I would, however, like to take a moment to thank Adam Till, the head of the writing program, himself an accomplished TV writer whose comedic talent I flat out envy and whose commitment to his students is unlike anything I've ever seen from a teacher. Adam, on behalf of our writing class, I offer you a collective thank you that is truly heartfelt. I'm embarrassed to admit this, but when I got to film school and started studying with a group of mostly 20-somethings, I realized that some of my views on life had become archaic and that I wasn't as well informed as I thought I was. It was enlightening and humbling and more than a little uncomfortable. At TFS, I learned about screenwriting, yes, but you, my classmates, taught me a whole lot about life. You updated my personal iOS, and I thank you for that. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Graduating from TFS is undeniably the happiest and proudest day of my life, and all I can do is smile and shake my head at how long it took me to get here. You know, it's true what I'm about to say. It doesn't matter how much time it takes you to get your shit together, just as long as you do. Seeing as it's customary for the valedictorian to include some advice in his, her, or their speech, I thought I'd close with the 5 best pieces of advice this middle-aged artist has gleaned from life. And here they are. First, there are 4 kinds of people in this world. Those who get it, those who don't, those who think they get it, and finally, those who don't want to get it. Because the truth is inconvenient, and ignorance really is bliss. Know what type of person you are. Strive to be a person who gets it, surround yourself with people who do, and help others who want to get it. Secondly, don't strive for perfection, strive for 90%. Then let your project go and move on to the next. Perfection is an unattainable goal that occupies your precious time when you could be working on getting another project off the ground. Thirdly, success is a reward. You don't need to be the best at what you do in order to succeed in life. You just need to be the hardest working person in the room who never gives up on the dream. Fourthly, be open to new things because how much you learn in and about life depends entirely on you. So be open to new people, new places, and new experiences. Take charge of your life, take chances, and take in as much as you can. You'll be a better artist for it. I could have been a screenwriter so much sooner if only I would have been open to the idea of something different. And finally, pay close attention. I have always known that I was meant for a career in show business. I can't explain it, I just know it to be true. It's a feeling that resonates deep in my soul, a vibration I feel in my body. When I came close to quitting, that vibration intensified to the point where I couldn't ignore it any longer. If something resonates in your soul, pay close attention. That's life, and it's talking directly to you. Thank you. Goodbye, and good luck, class of 2020.